once again to the Raymond Hall Show. I am Raymond Hall, and we're here in the studio with Laveda Theas, and she's a Los Angeles County Commissioner for Older Adults, and she's also a California senior legislator in the legislative committee.
Yes.
And we are absolutely honored to have some special guests with us here in the studio. We have Mr. Daniel Park with us here in the studio, and as well as Mr. Samuel. Did I get it mixed up? I got Samuel Park in the studio with us, and we have Mr. Daniel Kim, and they are both with KBS America, and they're here to talk with us about 25 plus years later, what has changed, if anything, between the relationship in the community, between the Korean community and the African American community. So we're absolutely honored to have them. Their station, KBS America, is on the platform with the PBS, and all of us know PBS. We listen to it all the time, and they do such great work. So I'm sure that they are doing great work here as well. And we're just honored that they chose to talk to Laveda and to choose her, and she brought them into the studio so we can have that dialogue with them. And they're going to be with us for a few minutes. So talk to us a little bit about the whole assignment that you want us to know about you for a second.
Yeah, the LA riot.
Yes.
It's been like 25 years before, right?
Correct.
So this, is there anything different with the between Korean community, between African American community?
Okay.
Wow, what a really engaging question, because I've been involved with some problems between the Korean community and the African American community recently. And what I've discovered is that there's more to be done. The Korean community, I say you're really involved in our parades and the activities that go on, but there still seems to be a disconnect socially with the African American community and the Korean community. Things are more peaceful, they haven't been as challenging as they were in the past, and I have been really encouraged by the efforts really on the Korean community to try to bridge that gap. So, is it better? Yes, but we still have a long way to go. There are a lot of, it's a lack of communication, a lack of cultural understanding between the Korean community and the African American community still.
That was my understanding, because we have to remember there were certain things that caused that unrest. And what you see in the African American community is a perception. It's factual, but it's a perception. And a lot of the smaller stores were not people who were born and raised in the community. They were people that came from outside of the community to do business into the community, and they did not have the understanding of the community. So whether it was a bias or whether it was a culture difference or something, it seemed to be a real disconnect in what was respectful and what was not respectful. It was at one time for persons to follow somebody just around the store when they're buying something. That's insultive to the African American community, and whether that was just a part of their normal doing business in the Korean community, that was it. People getting harmed when they go into a store to shop. So it was specific things that led to that. Some people call it an unrest. What it was a flat out riot. Okay. The problem was it destroyed the community. See, I want
to ask you a question on the things what it did. Have we made any progress? Has there been anything that you see that is better between those two cultural groups since that time?
I think that the that there has been enormous efforts all the way from supervisors, mayor's office, neighborhood councils. I think that the people in the community and organizations that govern the community have made an effort to say, let's be better neighbors.
Yes,
I think that has worked.
One of the things that I experienced in working with, there was a problem with a liquor store.
Yes.
And the Koreans that owned it and the African Americans in the community, they felt that the store was not providing positive kinds of food items or relationships with the people. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we talked about when we were in this forum with the city was trying to get the Korean community more actually involved in community activities, mm-hmm. the neighborhood councils, mm-hmm. To come out and adopt a school even, so you could learn, we could both learn from each other.
Right.
And so I have seen that happening, and that's been in the last year. And that's something I really would like to encourage. There was also a request by a group of young people who were having problems with this liquor store incident. Expression to have the Koreans sort of be mentors, helping them to establish businesses and do things for their own, because they felt that the Korean community came in and were takers. You take and you weren't giving back. Right. And they saw that as a way to help them. They want their own businesses. They want to be involved. And Koreans have access to money, finances. Mm-hmm. And how could that come in and be a part of the solution to the problems? Mm-hmm. Because it's more a cultural understanding, know. So the fact that we are talking is positive, know. And I've been engaged in several sessions with the city Human Relations Department, with Assembly Member Sebastian Ridley Thomas's mm-hmm. office when we were having, the issue. So, and since I've gotten a chance to know Steve Kang, mm-hmm. I have learned a lot more about Korean culture. Mm-hmm. So I think we need more opportunities to learn about you, mm-hmm. meaning the Korean mm-hmm. culture, mm-hmm. and for you to really learn about African Americans and not be afraid of, black people for some reason. Yeah. That sort of has filtered down from someplace, the fear.
Well, it's a lot. It's a lot of things that come together. You're absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. Some of it is generational. It's older because being a veteran, you have vets in the community because the African American community is rich in service, mm-hmm. and one of the services is debt to the nation, and so they're veterans. So you have many African Americans in the community that are veterans and that served in the on that Korean Peninsula, mm-hmm. and the exchanges. Some exchanges were good, and some exchanges were not so good. So they bought those things back, and then to see things happen the way it happened, people being able to do business, and yet, like you said, the things other than the liquor was just old. The food was old. The people in the community weren't being served. I think that is much better, and we do see better engagement at different levels.
Yes.
At the county level, you see a different engagement than you do at the neighborhood council level.
Yes.
Okay. So I think that there's a lot more work that needs to be done. I think that if a person is going to do business in a community, it should be a part of that community. Mm-hmm. I think that it should look at that community and say, what can I do to participate in the community other than just to sell my wares? And that way they would get a voice. And then what can the African American community do? I think communication is the key.
It is.
We're going to, the way the world is now, everybody is investing in every part of the globe. At one time, because of misnomers, the cultures, bad word, I'm not pulling the word out right now, but somebody would think something that's not true.
Okay.
And they would stay away from a certain area because stereotyping, thank you. Because the stereotypes had them to stay away from that area. Let's invest some money over here. But now that kind of investment is gone. We're going to invest money where our money will give us the greatest return. So we're seeing more people and different people in places that were traditionally African American. So I think what we're going to have to do as a community is we're going to have to work with change. And no one is going to have to come in and think people are going to have to work with their biases. So I think that's the biggest thing that has occurred since then.
And I'm really glad that you're coming out talking to us.
Yes.
Because that's what we need, more of this.
That's
I attended an event last year, and for the first time I really listened to the Korean side of what happened during the uprising. And it was eye-opening for me. So we need more opportunities like that for the Koreans to share, their losses, what happened with the business that their dad had tried to build up, and all of a sudden it's gone. So it helped to develop some empathy on my part, which I think is truly lacking, a lack of understanding of, the impact on the Korean community.
Yeah.
The rebellion was really not directed specifically at Koreans, but you guys happened to be there.
Yeah. I
it
think
was
one
with
of the
the injustices and things that were in the community, and not specifically directed to a specific race.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think one of the things that was lasting for me, when we talk about injustice, I think one of the things that was lasting for me was when I saw a person with a rifle on top of their establishment shooting indiscriminately in a crowd.
But then when I saw the actual video that you saw, it was on TV, when I saw the actual video of what was happening, they were protecting their property. They weren't really shooting into a crowd indiscriminately. So we have to be careful. The media wants to show one thing, and we see that, but you got to see the total picture.
Well, my point,
and I don't know how long we go on this.
my point was simply, in the African American community, you don't get on the roof and start shooting. Period. This is the same community that had to get on the top of the roof and paint their address, and their property value failed. This is the same one that had...
I really don't want to go down all the injustices that have fallen on black folks.
It's a lot of work that has to be done.
So I want to try to stay focused.
I'm so happy that Brian and Daniel and Simon came. And now, let me ask you this. Maybe you can come back again, and we can talk again about the... periodically how things are changing. I would love to be able to do a periodically, how things are changing. Yes. And since we're aware now, we can be more engaging to do outreach in the community.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all so very much.
So I hope you got what you wanted, what you needed.
Harmony.
Huh?
Yeah, we need more harmony.
Harmony.
A little more harmony. That's right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are so honored for Daniel and Simon to come into the studio and talk with us about. That's what the Raymond Hall Show about. Service is a different conversation, and they've come here with the service having a different conversation. What can we talk about to say what can make things better? So we do really thank you so very much for coming in and talking to us. Okay,
and we need each other,
Okay, so we're going to take a really, really quick break, and we're going to get prepared for our next segment. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Thank you. All right, great.
Okay, and we are back, and we have a caller on the line, and this is Raymond Hall with the Raymond Hall Show. Who's speaking? Hello?
Uh-oh, I might have lost him.
Caller, are you there? Okay, well, it looks like we lost them, but we will, hopefully they'll call back at one of the other sessions that we're having. Again, we want to thank Simon and Daniel for coming by, and we want to thank also KBS America for being so innovative into coming and reaching cross communities to talk about something that affects two different communities. Okay.
Very good. Very
all right.
Good.
So,
he says, what's that signal mean?
okay.
The caller's back?
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. And who am I speaking with? This is Raymond Hall of the Raymond Hall Show.
Yeah, my name is Derek, and I was told I might be a little late on the conversation, but I was trying to, I guess, give my 2 cents about the Korean interactions with African American communities.
Okay.
And so part of it is, I think, one is generational. I think you made that point as well, because a lot of the younger Koreans are actually involved in hip-hop culture, so I think that they kind of understand African Americans maybe a little bit more than the older generation.
Mm-hmm.
But my question to the gentleman, the Korean leadership, is what is Korean businesses doing as far as taking an initiative? Because when we go into Korean stores, we don't see us. You know, all the time culturally they have their family working there, so on and so forth. But so we don't. Well, I'll speak for myself. Like when I walk in, I don't feel like I'm being represented, and then I feel like the resources are being taken out, but then taken to Korean communities.
Okay.
So my thing is, you know, we have a lot of young African Americans who need jobs, et cetera, et cetera. So if they maybe instituted something like that, where when we go into a Korean store, we see us working there, that would go a long way. And I was just kind of wondering, like, what is the thought process for a lot of the Korean business owners that are in African American communities?
Okay.
Can I respond based on what I know that's happening? You know, one of my meetings was with the Korean Grocers Association, and these are the topics that we presented to them. Mm-hmm. You know, to have our community be a part of the businesses.
Okay.
So we were able, like, to get in the liquor store, set up a co-op with a black small business to do fresh fruits and vegetables. So
inside
the liquor store.
Wow,
so that brought, you know, our visibility there. One of the other things I think I mentioned was talking with the Korean Grocers Association about, you know, providing some business incentives, financial incentives to help get our young people involved in having businesses of their own and giving jobs to the young people in our community.
Okay. For the purpose of Simon and Daniel, the caller brought 3 points.
3 points.
Number one, he says that part of the situation is generational because the younger Korean generation, they're into hip hop and they don't see the things that the older Korean community sees. So part of it is the African-American. That's true. Is generational. Mm-hmm. And he said the second thing is that when he walks into a Korean establishment, he sees what we see oftentimes with other people. They have their families in there working. Koreans have their families and kids and everything in there working, and rightfully so, but he does not see any opportunities for the people in the community to which their business is there. And you just touched on the third part.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So those are 3 very, very good points. Thank you, caller.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, so now, do you want to respond to anything? You want to talk about anything? You're just here to do the interview.
You know what? These days, the Korean liquor stores owners, like small business owners, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're
Right.
trying to increase job opening in this area.
Okay.
They just start.
Okay.
They didn't
Yes.
know before.
Okay.
That. So it will be it's gonna be good.
Okay.
Okay.
For
All right.
both communities.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I am encouraged about what's happening internationally. I'm really encouraged with what's happening internationally. Okay. So again, thank you so very much. Okay. All right.
Great topic.
Yeah, great topic. And we, look, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, and what else is out there? Yes, that's just one of those things that's baffling. But go to the Raymond Hall Show on YouTube, and you can always see us live from 2 to 3 on Thursday, and then you can see us streaming. So just go to YouTube, the Raymond Hall Show, and you can always catch the show. Follow us, like us if you care to do so. We really do want your support. The Senior Salute season has started up. We do have some commitments for a Senior Salute. That's where we recognize senior age veterans who serve the nation and then continue in service to their community, who help build that library that your kids go in and study and get on the internet, and seniors as well, who help to advocate for that park, who help to do all of the things that enhance the quality of life. You look around, it's going to be somebody that got nothing out of it, but just said this is something that needed to be done and lended their service. So the Senior Salute season runs from May to November. It ends in November because that's both Thanksgiving and the Marine Corps birthday. So the East Rancho Dominguez, where we started in 2002, this year they're going to be one of the centers that's going to close out this year's Senior Salute. So we're going to be traveling around the nation doing a Senior Salute. If you are interested in the community, it's non-political, or you have to form a community. You cannot do it on your own. You have to be authorized to do it. That way we make sure the process is pure. So follow us, look into the things that we're doing. We're challenged like everyone else. Everybody wants Raymond to change, to do this, to do that. I can only do what God has given me the talent to do. So we're going to thank our guests, and we're going to move on.
Yes.
Okay. Now, where are we going?
We're going to give them a chance to get their stuff and move out.
Well, if they want to, we might not want them to go. The topic was so good.
It was great.
All right. Well, when we come back,
discussion
we are
today.
going to be talking about a couple of things. We're going to be talking about the ripple effect of what's going on with the Department of Veteran Affairs, or looking for the head of that department, and we're going to be talking about Section 8 and the low rent increase, and we're going to be talking with Laveda on the CSL. We will be right back. Thank you so very
All
much.
right, good.
so very much. And this is Raymond Hall, the Raymond Hall Show. We are here with Laveda Theus, and she's going to be talking to us now about the California Senior Legislature and what bills have been picked up.
Picked up, yes,
okay, because
yes.
it's very important. The seniors, this is the body that is specifically created to address the issues of seniors in the state of California. So, what's going on with the CSL?
Well, it's very exciting because, we met and had our session in November of 2017. Mm-hmm. And the results of that session, we came up with 10 priority proposals.
Correct.
10 things that we wanted to work on with the legislature mm-hmm. that would help seniors. Mm-hmm. And we were able to get sponsors for 6 of those proposals, and that's phenomenal, you know. Mm-hmm. So some of the ones that I think our listening audience would find really exciting to hear about. Mm-hmm. There's one that's AB 2159. It's Elder Abuse Dependent Adult Civil Protection Act mm-hmm. to help protect seniors with mandatory reporters.
Right,
mandated reporters mm-hmm. for the purpose of protecting their finances. You know, payday lenders, other agencies that prey upon seniors with their predatory lenders. Mm-hmm. Another one is we got a postage stamp to honor the Chinese railroad workers. Okay. And that's already in place. We wanted to do something to honor them. Mm-hmm. So we got a stamp that's mm-hmm. going to be printed up to represent the Chinese railroad workers.
Mm-hmm. Now that would go over to the federal side, wouldn't it?
Yes. Okay. Yes. This is a federal law.
Okay. Federal proposal.
Federal proposal. Mm-hmm. And we got someone to pick up our proposal to raise the Medi-Cal personal allowance from $35 to $80, because what can you do with $35?
Right.
You know, I can't get my nails done. Right. So they're trying to raise at least so that it can take care of, if someone is in a rehab center or something, at least pay for, getting a haircut and, personal items. $30. A little more than $35. Now, if someone
wanted to see those, where could they go to see
They could go to our website, www.4csl.org, and you can pull them up. You can pull them all up. Okay. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have about 10. Mm-hmm. That are really in the process of becoming a law.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, the way it actually works, and she's absolutely right. That's to have that many. That's phenomenal mm-hmm. for the years that I've been a part of the CSL. We get information from the community, or one of the CSL members will propose something. And then they have the walk the halls mm-hmm, where they try to get someone in the regular assembly to carry that bill. And if that bill is carried, then it goes to committee. And if it comes out of committee, it goes to the floor, and the floor votes, and then it goes to the governor, and it becomes law. So your service to talk to people to help get these things passed, that's where your voice comes in. So what are some of the others?
Okay. Caregiver resource centers, voluntary work source. Establish a pilot program administered by the directors to train and place volunteers to provide care to persons who are at least 65 years of age or older who have cognitive impairment issues and meet specified criteria. We have many seniors who are debilitated in one way or another, and they need to have appropriate services. Right. So that will help to provide those kinds of services. Mm-hmm. Another one on adult abuse, because that's really, oh my God, that's such a problem. You know,
it's a huge problem mm-hmm. because it has so many facets to it. for judiciary abuse, people getting ripped off from their houses.
Yes.
And a lot of the things that's happening is happening inside of the family.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know, so that's the problem. So we need to make sure that we
here's one
pay
that's
attention.
interesting. We're trying to get grab bars in this in public restrooms, you know, because if we have them in the homes, we need in public restrooms.
Wow, I thought they already had that.
No.
Okay.
This bill will require the commission to the California Building Standards Code to adopt standards requiring newly constructed public restrooms to be equipped with grab bars.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
you know,
really
and the
needed.
proposal that I have that I'm pushing for next year is something I just discovered a real need for is having the walk-in tubs.
Yes.
I didn't realize that. I've been visiting senior housing, and a lot of them don't have tubs. They just have a shower.
Right.
So people would like to have a tub.
Yeah.
And it's so accessible now. Things have changed. The technology is at such a point that anybody who's getting federal funds for building senior housing should be required to put that in.
Yeah.
So that's one of the other proposals that we're working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we are fortunate because I think I read somewhere that at one point there were better than 10 states that had some form of senior legislature, and now it's down to just a couple of states, and California is one of them. That web address again is the number 4, so it would be www, the number 4, CSL.org. Okay. And you can go and look at all of those proposals. It's not, this show is not just about seniors. This is for everybody because we all got seniors. We have another caller on the line, so let's see what this call is about. Hello, and thank you for calling the Raymond Hall Show.
How are you doing, Raymond?
I'm doing fine.
This is Anthony Williams. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, Mr. Williams. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I thought I'd chime in and tune in, and I heard the Korean segment, and I was curious as to why they weren't on camera. It's only you and the beautiful lady there, but I wanted to try to, in reminiscence, go back to that. But for CSL as well, that those things our proposals are. And you mentioned as to how they would be legislated, because I know people that are in their home and their relatives, for instance, here's an example, that could be abusing them unto their death.
Yes.
And instances like that. In fact, I had a friend just this week inquired and asked for my expertise in terms of where could they go, and I put them on the line with a social worker for the social worker to intervene. And what happened with that particular situation was by the time they got to this person, their sister would take care of them. And they were dehydrated, wasn't giving them all their meds, yada, yada, yada. So I think for CSL is where I'll recommend that you go in the future. In terms of, in retrospect, I was there during the riots in downtown Los Angeles in terms of the stereotypical ways that we're perceived by the Korean community. I think we, in a way, as a people, need to kind of solidify, galvanize our way of approaching other cultures. And what I do a lot is I try to learn some of the language.
Okay.
I try to learn some of the hello.
That's a very good point.
Like kamsamita, that means thank you. And you'd be surprised at the reception that you get. Because the first thing they ask me, Raymond, is, and this is a show about service and that's a different conversation, is have you been to my country? Did you serve in my country? And I haven't been to the DMZ or anything like that. But it gives you entree and an opening for a friendship. I agree with the person in terms of when you in a community, diversity is California. Let's face it.
Right, that's true.
You know, this is a diverse culture. I work for a major corporation, and one of the mantras or one of the rules of that particular organization, and they're global, was we want the employees to look like the community.
Right.
And sometimes we isolate ourselves and we segregate ourselves, and we have to be more open to and receptive to trying to learn some of the basics of that particular culture.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised. I mean, what I do when I go see somebody from Myanmar or Burma, we have all these tools available to us. You can Google how to say hello.
Right.
And you know, how do you say something in Spanish that's not offensive?
Right.
You know, things of that particular nature. Things of that particular nature, and we'll find that once we engage and once we communicate, and communication is the key. You know, I think we'll have a better relationship.
Well, those are some really wonderful points, and as I was saying, this show is for the whole community. So what Mr. Anthony is talking about, these are some things that all of us can take up with. As you can see, Mrs. Walker is not here with us this week, but one of the things that was or is very impressive about her, she speaks about 7 different languages.
It's fascinating.
Yes, she can go anywhere and just speak the language, and it does make a difference. So you're absolutely right. Well, thank you for calling in, Mr. Anthony, and we're going to ask everyone to just pay attention, because we all need to communicate better. And as far as the CSL, if there's something that some of the organizations can help with, we do know that you can call depending on whether they're in the city or county. In the city, they call the City Department of Aging. If they're in the county, they call the Los Angeles County Community and Senior Services. And there
Did you say something about elder abuse?
Well, elder abuse.
We have an elder abuse hotline.
Yeah, elder abuse hotline. You can report that elder abuse hotline, adult protective services, and those kind of things.
Well, thank you. They have addressed it, and they got the lady, she's 70 years old, into the hospital, and it's being addressed. And legislation is going to help, because when you implement these laws, you got to have the personnel to on it.
Right, and it's got to have money behind it, because you'd be surprised at some of the laws that they have on the books, but if it's not funded, it doesn't go anywhere. But look, we're going to have to move on. Thank you, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Give me a call. Right?
All righty, bye-bye. So we want to thank Mr. Williams for following in us and supporting us, and just being a person that kind of helps the show by keeping us involved in the things that's going on in the community there. Okay, so the CSL, now the proposals, now what can they do? What can a person do when they go to the website? We invite them to go to the website, www.4csl.org. You see something, you say, oh, I would like to support that. So now they're going to see the assembly person that
is authoring the bill.
And then what do? They email
make
them?
a phone call
to
that assembly member or senators, because a couple are sponsored by senators, and lend your support. Tell them, I like this. This should happen. I'm supporting that.
Okay.
So the more calls they get, the better.
The better. Okay. And then when it comes out of committee, do the same thing to the governor.
Yes.
Call the governor and say, look,
we
want this signed. We want it to make a bill. Now, we're going to, because the elections are coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a whole different topic for a whole different conversation. We want to take these last few minutes, and we're going to touch on just a couple of things for a couple of moments, because we did have them on the schedule. I heard a very interesting outlook on this Section 8 thing where, Dr. Ben Carson is now the head of Housing and Urban Development. And he's put forth this policy where now the percentage of participation by the resident is 35% as opposed to 30%. And I was talking to people, and I heard some people, I can't pay it. And one person had an interesting perspective. They said that they've been doing that to us all the time.
When you say do that to us all the time?
They raise the amount that they have to pay to participate in Section 8. You have to pay 30% of whatever your income is. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Carson says, no, we're going to raise it to 35%. Now, he's saying that you're supposed to get some kind of value out of 35% that you don't get out of 30%. But I wanted to see
only a rich man would say that.
Yeah, but
Come on.
But what was interesting was the person said, that's nothing new, that they do that to us all the time.
I just really can't speak to that about, how it's gone up.
Well, he's the head of HUD, so evidently he has the authority to do it. I looked at it like this. If a person has $1,000, 10% is $100, 5% would be $50. So if your 30 is $300, then another 5 is going to be $50, so that's $350. Now, if a person has a family, that $50 may impact them a little bit more than a single person that has $1,000. And I just casually was talking to people, and the one comment that stuck with me is the lady said that they do that to us all the time. It's nothing new. They do that to us all the time. So,
well, I think this raise from 30 to 35 is something new. Maybe they've been increasing their portion that the Section 8 participant has to pay, but it has not been federally instituted. Right. Now, because a lot of Section 8 is controlled by the city, the county, etc., that you live in.
Right.
Now, he's making this a federal law. Increase. Yeah. And 5% may not seem like a lot to some people, but to a poor person,
it's a lot of money.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's over a third of whatever you're bringing in.
Yeah.
You still got light, gas, your phone, car,
Right. Right.
So I disagree with that.
Okay. And we've got Mother's Day coming up, so everybody remember your mother. My mother passed today. In 1999, and she's still like my best friend.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I'm oldest son, third child, oldest son, but she was, she didn't tell you to do something. She showed you how to do it. While we were in school, she went to college with 7 children. So there was no excuse for us not getting our homework and that kind of thing. Lastly, just for a minute, we want to talk about the VA hospital, this thing that's going on with these directors. One director had to leave, and one director didn't get out of the starting gate. And there's so much conversation going on about the Department of Veterans Affairs. They want to privatize it, and they want to do. I don't think that that's a very good idea, but I'm just a veteran. A friend of mine, I was talking to him about it, and he said that he don't really think that when you get to that level, they really care about vets. And, they have wanted the VA for a long time. They wanted the business of the VA because when you get to the non-VA hospitals, they treat you for whatever illness you have, and then they go on, move to the next thing. But the VA has a greater responsibility. It has to deal with housing. It has to deal with, a whole lot of things with veterans.
The entirety of being a veteran.
Exactly.
Not just the hospitalization part. Well, I have a question. What kind of person do you think would do the best job in that role? what kind of experiences do you think they should have? Because clearly the guy that 45 chose is not
no, he's not
appropriate.
I think that the person definitely needs to be a veteran. Whether they rose to the rank of officer, they need to understand what a rank and file veteran experience.
Okay.
Whether they were an officer and they commanded a rank and file unit, they need to understand what that means. We need to have a leader at that department that understands 25% of all of the claims that's still sitting out there belong to Vietnam vets.
Okay.
Now, the Vietnam vet is definitely closer to 70 than they are to any other 10-year marker. Okay? So if you've got claims sitting out there that's over 10 years and they may have to wait another 5 or so years, look at how many vets could possibly leave this earth and not even have their claim answered. So you need someone that has definitely character, definitely integrity, someone that understands the commitment that a person makes when they make a commitment to serve the nation. And then you need someone that says we need to have enough expertise and enough resources budgeted to be able to care for this group of people. The verdict was read with Bill Cosby.
Oh, wow.
And there is so much trauma with women veterans, especially older women veterans. What's happening in the nation happens in service too. It's just in service it's a little more different because you have a commanding officer. And if the commanding officer doesn't want to move that issue doesn't move. Well, you still got to be around the very same people that caused you all of the harm. So the person that needs to lead the Department of Veterans Affairs needs to be a person with integrity, with character, and with the knowledge on how to manage the second largest United States government department. Okay.
Okay.
You know who that person who he should be?
Who?
Colin Powell.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. He would, someone like Colin Powell would be, in my opinion, someone well suited to run
it.
The Department of Run. He's been, what's the head general that runs everything? He did all of that. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what we need. And I think we need to do a vetting process of just whatever. Don't just pop up with a name. No, that's what he did. So tell us what you think. Text us go to our webpage and text us what you think. Who would make a great or a good leader for the Department of Veterans Affairs? And we will try to read those comments on the next show. We talked about Mother's Day.
Yes, we did.
And when is Mother's Day?
Mother's Day is, May 12th?
May 12th. Okay, so
I know it seems late.
Yeah, so we'll have another show before Mother's Day.
Before Mother's Day.
Well, we have flat out ran out of time. Okay, it's about 5 after, and we want to thank each and every one of you for listening to the Raymond Hall Show. A little heads up, we're going to be expanding on the East Coast. We're going to give you more information starting next week when everything is actually put together and signed. But we're in the process of making that happen right now. So people will be able to pick us up on the AM and FM dials on the East Coast to listen to the show and hear what we're talking about. Anything from you?
Well, I really am glad to be participating, Mr. Hall. This was so interesting.
It was fun.
Yes, it was. So I will have to do it again and bring up some new topics.
Let's do it again.
Yes.
Okay, that's definitely. We want to thank Morris Media Studios for making it possible for us to broadcast out of this highly technical studio. We want to thank Felicia and her father, Johnny Morris. Remember, Labor Day is coming up. Memorial Day is coming up. And when Memorial Day comes up, be mindful to be thankful to someone who actively served in the nation. This show today was brought to you by the American Legion Post 109. They meet on the third Monday of every month. I think that's going to be the 21st of May, and they meet at 3740 Don Felipe Drive in Los Angeles. Again, we want to thank Dr. Barnell Payne, who was with us last week, the director and owner of Clear Path Life Center. They're going to be down there at Long Beach Convention Center on the 28th. And they're going to be featuring Dr. Tina Edmonds, OBGYN, and they're going to be talking about, let's talk about sex, but I understand that it's going to be talking about things that have to do with health and health safety, sex safety, that kind of thing. So go check it out. And we want to say thank you to all of you. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay in tune. And God bless you, and we will see you back this time next week at the Raymond Hall Show.
Have a blessed day.
Do the same.
Yes.
God bless you. Okay? No matter what they throw at you, stand back up. Okay? If they talk about you like a dog, stand back up. If somebody says that you aren't worthy, then ask them to identify all of their God-like powers. We all do the very best that we can. Some days are better than others. If you go to that God that says, I'm the one who holds all of the keys to say, I will have mercy as opposed to judgment, that's as much as you can hold to. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you for tuning in to The Raymond Hall Show.